Hello, beautiful faces. I hope you are all doing well. In the first part of our course, we learned about Git and GitHub, what's the differences between them, and how both of them work together. So in this part 2, we will dive deeper into Git specifically, how to initialize a Git repository, and use some essential commands that will get you up to speed with the version control. Whether you are just getting started with Git or want a quick refresher, this is going to be an important step in your development journey. So let's get right into it. But first, I highly recommend you to follow up with me step by step so you will not get missed, and in the same time you are practicing each command we will learn together. That will make you more confident with the command line to work in the future. First of all, let's open up our terminal and create a folder that will keep all of our materials, such as files and other folders, for example. Here we go. This is our terminal. Let's type pwd to check which directory we are working now. Here we go. So now we have to access to the desktop. CD, it will access any directory or any folder in your computer. Desktop, here we go. So here we want to create our main folder. So to create any folder in the command line, just type mkdir and the name of the file that you wanted to create. So here we will name it git folder, and here we go. Our folder now it's created. So let's access our new main folder, cd git folder. So now we are in our folder it's empty for now. To check it, just type ls. So here we go. There's nothing inside our folder until now. So let's create another folders inside. That will be our projects later. So let's type mkdir. Let's name our folder, for example, folder 1. And we want to create another folder. We will name it folder 2. Folder 2. And here we go. Let's run ls. Yes. So now in our main folder, git folder, we have two subfolders, git folder 1 and folder 2. Now, in order to work with the git commands, first we have to understand some of the terminology here. First terminology called repo. It's just a short form for repository. It's like a folder. That's it. So the rectangle here is our main folder we have just created. It's git folder we have just created before, and inside it we create two folders. Consider it as a folder 1 and a folder 2. Now the software, which is Git, we installed in our computer system, doesn't mean he's tracking everything. We need to mention this is my Git repo. And once we do mention that and initialize that Git in that folder specifically getting tracked by Git. And also if we mention, for example, this white folder, which is folder 2, should not be tracked, that's it. Our software will never track it. Now, let's go and initialize our folder. So we are going to learn how to make this entire folder trackable. And see the status of this folder. You don't want it to track everything in your computer, so we will learn about this. And later we will learn about the .git hidden folder that we have here. So let's go back to our terminal and see if we do ls now. Here we go. Now we have folder 1 and folder 2. So I can run the command git status Here we go. There is nothing which being tracked here. So let's enter or let's access our folder git1. cd folder 1. Now we are in our folder 1. Now we wanted to initialize folder 1 means the Git software starts tracking that folder. Let's see the list if there's anything inside it. There's nothing inside. Good. Let's also run the command ls-la to see any hidden folders. That's good. There is no hidden folders here. Now time to learn the command git init. So let's type git init. It's the short form of the initialization. So the moment you do run this command, our Git software will start tracking this folder or anything inside this folder. Any changes you do in this folder. Let's run it. Here we go. Now our folder 1, it's being tracked by Git. Let's go back a bit. cd and run the list to see. Here we go. Now we can see folder 1 it's tracked and the folder 2 it's not tracked by Git. Let's back to our diagram. Here we go. So git started here, just check any changes we have made in our project directory. And for the git init, we can do it just one time per project. So you can initialize a project just once, no multiple times. And this is the git hidden folder where Git stores all of the project versions history. For example, any files, any source code inside our project or our folder, he will store it in the particular folder, hidden folder. Let's back to our terminal. I will show you if you are curious a bit about this hidden folder. So git status. Let's back to our folder 1 ls. There is nothing inside it. ls-la. Here we go. That's our hidden folder. And for more curiosity, let's see what contains this hidden folder. cd.git ls. Here we go. We have multiple folders here, and this exactly it will grow with us in our once we are working on our directory or project. So if we, for example, here it will start the configurations for your name, email, and anything like that. And we have also the folder of head, description, infos, and refs, hooks, objects, and etc. And this is my advice to you. Please don't make any things or any changes in this folder manual. I hope you understand that very well. Otherwise, your project will be crashed because this .git folder is holding all of the Git infos in your project. So let's back a bit. cd ... Here we go. Now we are in our folder. Let's see what's inside it. There is nothing inside. And now let's back to our diagram. Here we go. In this time, we are going to learn about the working mechanism of the Git. Then we will create some files and start working with the VS Code also later. First of all, let's understand how the Git workflow works and do some practice on it. That will make you understand better. So here is our command git commit. It's like taking a snapshot of your project in a certain moment of time. It saves the current state of all of the files or any changes in your project you have made. for example. So the main idea here, before committing anything in your terminal, here is a couple of commands we need to run first. We cannot run git commit directly. So the full image will be like writing something in your project, adding it, and then commit. So that's why I have added this diagram here for you, so you will understand better this basics of how Git workflow actually works. First of all, we have to make a working directory, means a folder we have like we have just created before, and we have to get git initialize on it. After that, we have to run a command of git add, and that will bring all of the things or all the files in our staging area. And here we didn't commit yet, means simply we are ready to commit now. Then we do commit through running the command git commit. And once we do git commit, now the local repository is created. After our repo created, so now time to upload it to the cloud or to our GitHub account in the remote server. Let's recap what's happening here in our map. So we have to create a project or creating a working directory. We do some work there, like type in some more code or add in any files or something like that. Then we run the commit, then we run the command git add. So that command will bring all of our changes, files, and things that Git will be tracking in our staging area. And this means if everything is okay, let's commit that changes in our local repository. And we can do that, just type in the command git commit, and after a local repository created, it's time now to push it in the remote server. And now let's go to practice a bit. Let's back to our terminal, see which present work directory we are now. Here we go. Now we are in our project folder 1. Now I opened our folder 1 in the VS Code editor. Here we go. Here is here is our folder now, and there is nothing inside it except the .git hidden folder here. Now let's go ahead to our terminal and create some files here in the folder 1 project. Example index HTML. I thought that will be familiar to you, this kind of files. And another file, like name it style CSS. This is also familiar to you, I hope so. It's just like a files we are practicing our commands on it. That's it. Hit enter. We made a mistake in our command. It's TO, not TA. To type the command touch index.html and style.css. Here we go. Let's see our folder. Yes, in our folder now we just created 2 files here, and we can see it also in our VS Code editor, where we upload our folder 1 project there. Here we go. This is our 2 new files we have just created in our command line terminal. Now let's go back and run our command git status. Now we are in our branch master, no commit yet, and untracked files. So these files we have just created is untracked by Git. That means Git tells you this file is, I'm not aware of it. If you are doing anything with it, I'm not tracking it. So if you want me to track it, just add it in the area, the staging area, and then commit it. So that's what we are going to do later. So here is the whole idea here. In every software you build, you write some code, then you add that code to the tracking zone, which is the staging area, then you make a commit. So what we have done so far is we have just a working directory here where we have created some files, and that's it. We did nothing else. Now, next step according to our flow is to run the command git add. Git add command just keeps everything under the tracking zone. Now, let's say, for example, we want to track only the index.html file. So let's run git add file name, git add. The file name here is index.html. And there is another option. Git add and space dot means we have to add everything in our files, every change, every file. But now we want just to add the index.html. So let's hit the enter. Oops, we missed also the add keyword. Git add index.html. So here is the magic of our command here, the command line here. It will notice you if you did a misspelling. Let's hit enter. Here we go. Now, if we check the git status, the message on the master branch, no commit yet, changed to be committed, which means our files now index.html, it's been added to the staging area. And we have also the option of to unstage this file. And another thing, it's untracked file. This is the style.css. It's nothing happened to it. Now, at this point, we are in the staging area. That means stage area is just a pre-step before committing step. So now we have to decide to commit or unstage. Now time to commit. Let's recap. We have just created files here in our working directory, and stage one of them, it's index.html in the staging area. We added that in the staging area. And now we are going to commit that files into our local repository. Let's open up our terminal again and running the git commit. So git commit here is a bit tricky command here. So we have to add the dash m, which means stands for the message. And between the quotes here, we have to write a message to describe what is the command about and why we are committing this file. And commit command must have a message when running a commit. And so let's make the message here, it's add file 1, for example, which is the index.html. Let's run it. And there we go. The message here is a bit different. It says we are in the master root commit under this ID number, and the file it's added here the message. So one file changes, which is the index.html. Now we are in our local repository stage. So if we go ahead and check that in our terminal again, we type in git status on branch master and untracked files here, which is style.css, and that means this file left here in this area of the working directory. And for the index.html, it's gone into the local repository, means everything is updated in our file. Now let's open up our VS Code and let's see in our source control here and the graph. Here we go. Here you can visualize your commits here in the VS Code. This is a wonderful extension. It's been added to the VS Code editor. If you didn't see in this graph here, that means you haven't installed the GitLens extension yet. You can just tap on this panel here and go to extensions. Click there and search for the GitLens, which is this one, and install it from here. I already installed, and if you didn't do that yet, just install from it, and you will benefit from this amazing extension. It will show you every commit you did here, and it will track visually your branches or commits here. So here we'll get the timeline of history of your commits and some infos such as, for example, let's open it this, such as the author name, which me in this case here, and how many files changes, and the commit date and the commit ID. And here in this author section, maybe you will get something else in the author name. And I will show you why you are getting this error message, for example. Now, this is one of the problems I really want you to face to understand what goes on and what is happening behind the scenes into that. So let's back to our terminal now and track our second file, which is style.css. And to do that, we can just do the git add and later the git commit. So git add, we can just do it with the dot, because here we have just a one file, or we can just type it manually with the file's name, like here style.css. That's our file. We want to track it. Good. Now I'm in the staging area. You can verify that by just running the git status. Here we go. Good. So now it comes this message on branch master, changes to be committed, and here we go. Our new file style.css ready to be committed. So let's commit that. Git commit. And what if, for example, we didn't make the message, for example, like that? What's happening? So here, one of the problems I want you to face. Let's hit enter and see what's going on. Here we go. Oops. It's open. It's like a whim in our terminal now. Let's open up our VS Code to see what's going on in our files. Here we go. Let's open our Git folder and the commit message. We can type here the message that we want the commit will hold. Like, for example, add the second file. That's our commit message will be. Hit enter, I'll save it, and go back now to our terminal. And for that whim, we can just solve it by just pressing the escape once, and then the colon, and then the Q, for example, and press the enter. If it's not working, if it doesn't work for you, press the Q and the exclamatory sign. It will force quit it. If not, press colon and the QA and the exclamatory sign and hit the enter. Here we go. Now it's our terminal back to work again, and the whim is done. Let's back to our VS Code now and refresh it to see what's happening now. Here we go. Now we can notice our commit, our second commit pops up here. That means in our project now we did two commits for the full file, for the file one, which is index.html, and the second file here. So we are on it here. Good. For now, let's back to our diagram to explain what we are just learned a bit. In the stage area, we initialize folder or our project with the git init command and creating files. For example, we have just created the index and the style CSS files. So we add them to our stage area and we check the status of them, which file is in our tracking zone. And for the commit message, we do the git commit followed with the -m stands for the message, and we have to type our descriptive message here. It will explain why we did this commit. And for the git status here, also checking our status. Our next command is git log, and this one is simple. View the commit history. Let's back to our terminal and learn about type git log. Here we go. So git log, it will give us the details of our commit. So here is an example for it. The commit here is with the ID. It's longer, too much here. And for the head, he's in the master branch. We will learn about it later in the branch sections lesson. And here is the author. That's my name and my email here also, and the dates also which created this commit, and also the commit message. We added our second file recently, and here is also the details or the infos about our first commit. So here is a question is maybe pops up in your mind. Maybe you are asking, how does Git know my email and my name in this details here and so on? The answer is simple, because there is a config file, short form of configuration files, that all this infos needs to be saved first there. So then we can make all the commits. So we will do that later on. We'll learn about the configuration files later on. And for now, there is also a commit I want you to know about it. You will like it so much because it gives you these details in shorter. So if you have, for example, tons of commits, don't worry, it will be shorter for you to understand and grab whatever you want. So it's git log. It's similar to the previous one, git log, and with a dash one line. Here we go. This is a short form of our git log. So here is the ID, the first letters of the ID, which makes it unique. And for the head in our master branch now, and the message also of our commit. And this first commit here also the same, except the head in our second commit. So for this ID, I want to show you something in the VS Code. If you notice, for the first commit here or the second commit here, it's the same first letters from like 6 or 7 letters from our ID. That will make it unique, and our Git locally will save it in our Git configurations file, the Git hidden folder also. So that's it for now. And let's recap a bit what we have just learned in this part 2 of our course. So we learned about how to initialize a Git project. Here we go, initializing the Git project with the essential commands, for example, the git init. And we learned about the hidden folder where Git stores all of our project version histories, and for the Git status, the magic one, it will check of our status. And later on, we learned about the Git workflow, part 1, which is from the working directory until the local rip. And later on, we will learn about how to push our project or our Git repo to the remote server or to our GitHub. So this section it will be later on, don't worry. And we learned also about the git log commands. So this one, it will check the commits, the history or details, and that's it for now. In this point, I highly recommend you to practice a bit with what we have just learned, creating folders, with your command line or terminal or Windows prompt if you are in Windows operation system, and do git init, add files, commit them, and so on. Make it a habit for your learning coding journey, or once you are working or doing something like that. So don't use anything manually, just create every project in your command line. And if you feel you can do it, don't worry. During the course, you will be able to do it alone. And feel free to watch again the course or the section or the part one or the part two of our course until now, and from the beginning. That will give you a grasp, comprehension to Git concepts. So in the next part of our course, we will understand the git config commands and why it is important. I hope you enjoy the lesson, and I will see you in the next video.